Number 54. A cable company uses the function f of x equals 20h plus 50 to calculate the total repair bill f of h for h number of hours worked. Find h if f of h equals 150. So here, folks, don't make this one too tough. So the number of hours gets multiplied by 20. So this you're getting charged $20 an hour plus an initial fee of $50. What we know here is that f of h, or your output, or your y value, or your bill is $150. What we don't know is h, the independent variable, the input variable, the number of hours this person worked. So we plug in 150 for f of h, because f of h, or f of x, sorry for the confusion, f of x, f of h, let's change that to h. There should not be two different inputs, folks. That is my bad typing. Apologize. So f of h is 150, so that goes in place of 150. And now we just have this, and now we can solve for h to figure out the number of hours worked to get charged $150, $150 total. So h equals 6. So 6 hours produced a $150 bill. I don't have space to write that. So there we are. This is going to be a similar skill down below. Now, it's not a word problem, but it's going to be the same concept. So here's g of x. It's all this. Here's g of x, the function. It's represented by this expression. What is x? That's the input variable if the output, or the value of the function, is -5. So again, -5 goes in for g of x because they're telling us the whole g of x output is -5. We have to find x, or the input. What input will make an output of that? These you have to simplify a little bit. These x's are on the same side of the equation, so you combine like terms. That gives you negative 8x plus 3. Then you subtract 3. So you get -8 equals -8x. So x equals +1. Number 57, g of n is or equals 16. So 16 goes in place of g of n. And we need to find what n is. So we combine like terms because these n's are on the same side. So we get n equals 2. Here's your function g of x. It's 3x plus 3x. What is x if g of x is 12? In place of g of x, excuse me, that's a -12. In place of g of x, I can put a -12. So we get -12 equals, combine these like terms, 6x. So x equals -2. Last but not least on this section, g of x. I might have a typo here. This should say g of n. I made a couple of these mistakes, folks. Like we're taking n's here, so that should be an n. Here it's g of x, and we got some k's. Let's make these k's. There. The rest of that looks okay. So g of n is 0. So my output is 0. What input makes this function makes the output equal 0? So here we can combine the numbers. -2 and -6 is -8. So we add 8 and add 8. 8 equals n. And sure enough, if you plug in 8 there and subtract 2 and subtract 6, you get 0. And you can check all of these, folks. You can put -2 back in for x here and here and see what you get. When you simplify it, you'll get -12 if you did it correctly. Earlier, we calculated slopes. Here, they want us to do the same thing. Write the slope of... Oh, just kidding. Just kidding. Here we want to write the point slope form of the equation of the line through the given points. So if we want to use point slope form, we need a point, which is an x and a y, and we need a slope. Well, we have too much information in one sense. We have 2 points, but we lack information on what the slope is. So you will need to do the slope formula to find the value of the slope, or the slope of this line going through these 2 points. So we have 5 minus -5. We have -1 minus -2. So I'm getting 10 over, bump, bump, chop, chopped there, 10 over 1. Slope equals 10. So I'm going to use the slope of 10. Actually, I don't really have a choice on that. The slope is 10. But then I get to choose which point I want to use. I could either use the first point or the second point. I'm going to use the first point because I actually prefer using negative coordinate inputs in point slope form, because that's the next route we're going to go. In fact, I just need to write point slope form, so I'm almost there. So my y coordinate that I choose to use goes in there. So y minus -5. Why I like that is because subtracting a -5 is the same as adding a +5. The slope that I calculated, which is 10, goes in place of m. And then the x coordinate from the coordinate pair that I chose goes in place of the second x. So it's x minus -2. And you cannot pick and choose coordinate pairs, folks. Once you pick a coordinate from a coordinate pair, that is the coordinate pair you have to stick with. Otherwise, things will not work out right. And here I can chop again. So it's x plus 2 there. So here's your nice pretty point slope form. Y plus 5 is equal to 10 times x plus 2. Boom, there we are. Again, we're trying to find the point slope form of the line going through these 2 points. So on number 65, I'm going to find the slope. I take 4 minus 4 divided by -3 minus 1. And I get 0 over -4, which is the same as 0. So my slope is, or m value is 0. And I'm going to use this coordinate pair. So my y is 4 and my x is 1. So I get y minus 4 equals 0 times x minus 1. I get y minus 4 equals it'd be 0x, which is gone, and minus 0. So I get y minus 4 equals 0. Boom. There we are. Again, let's find the slope. Slope equals difference in the y. So -3 minus 1 divided by difference in the x's. 2 minus 1. So you get -4 over 1. That's your slope. I'm going to write it over here. Slope is -4. And then I'm going to use this as my points, my x and y. Actually, I'm not going to use that one. I'm going to use this one, just so we're not... helps you see more clearly what needs to go in certain places. So the y goes in here after the minus sign with the y. In parentheses, x minus the x coordinate, 2. And you can, whenever you have a double negative, a minus a negative, you can write it that way. Last but not least, actually I'm just going to check something really quick, folks, because I'm a little nervous that when I made this review, whether or not we were supposed to get this into point slope form or slope intercept form, I'm going to not be able to see the answer yet. So actually, I don't know. I'll fix it if I goofed up. 2 minus -2 on the top. 1 minus, 2 minus -2. 1 minus 0. I do those arrows to help me see that I'm going in the right direction. Slope is 4. So now, pick a coordinate pair. I'm going to pick this one. So it's going to be y minus 2 equals the slope times x minus 1. And there is your point slope form. Now perhaps you need to get it into slope intercept form. I'll let you